She has a website, chrismoss-author.com. She's on Facebook and Instagram. Let's welcome Chris.
It's the worst when somebody makes you cry before you show up, you know? Just so sweet. Let's just, I know I've already been prayed over, but let's just pray real quick. Father, use my voice, use my words. You know the hearts of these moms. And I pray, Father, that they hear what you need to say to them today, not what I have to say. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, pull it together, Chris. I want to start with a question. Quick hand up. Have you ever wished you had more deep, meaningful friendships? Okay, so that is the lovely version of asking this same question. Are you lonely? If I asked, are you lonely, would you have raised your hand? I don't think any of us are really in touch with our loneliness. So why in a talk about friendship are we starting out with loneliness? Because friendship is the antidote for loneliness. I want to flip through a couple of statistics because I think they're very powerful. Friendship increases our odds of living a long life by 50%. It has a bigger impact on our psychological well-being than our family relationships. Because we have no blood or license that ties us to a friend, not like a husband or a family. It's just an unspoken understanding that we want to hang out. And isn't that affirming? We spend so much time nurturing our relationships with our husbands, when statistically you're going to live longer than your husband. You're better off nurturing your relationships with your girlfriends. Think about that. When girls get together to talk, it's different than when we talk to men, because you know what we do? We release progesterone. Progesterone makes our stress levels go down, and it makes our mood levels go up. And you know what happens when that happens? We are more prone to supporting the husbands and children that we love. And I think that makes girlfriends, that piece alone makes having girlfriends really important. So what if we don't have enough friends? More statistics. Low social interaction can be compared to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I don't think we have a smoker in this room. Think about that. Being an alcoholic or not exercising ever. A lack of friendship is twice as dangerous as obesity. A lack of friends is a risk factor for death. In a study of 3,000 nurses who all had breast cancer, the ones who had no friends were 4 times as likely to die from the disease than the ones who had 10. Can you identify 10 friends? This is because having friendships gives us a reason to grasp that toehold we have here on earth. And we don't realize how important that is until it's threatened. People are literally dying of loneliness. And for the first time, this in as long as this record's been kept, it's young people who are dying of loneliness, not senior citizens in nursing homes. That has always been a problem. This young people being lonely is a new problem. And we're seeing it younger and younger. I'm looking at my granddaughter and seeing some loneliness. She's in 6th grade. So, we are hardwired to crave friendship. In John 15, Jesus says, "You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you." We have access to that. And he closes it with the command. So if we're his friends, we do what he commands. This is my command. is so simple. Love each other. We are friends when we know a little bit about each other's business. We do stuff with and for our friends. And even when we get a little disillusioned, we're still in that circle. We choose to love. It may not be that we need to make new friends in this room today, although MOPS is a fabulous place to make new friends. It might be that we just need to take the friendships we have and go a little deeper. So today, I am going to present some information. It's on the table tents. There's 2 on each table. I'm going to suggest you get your phone out and take a picture of these so that you're not passing it around the table. Because we are going to talk about geometry and Disney villains and friendship, and we've got a lot to cover. So, I know, for me, as a mentor, I can't make a friend if I am not willing to be one. So, we're looking at the frequency triangle. And what kind of triangle is this?
People.
Yes, who said that? Good job. 3 sides, all equal sides. And we want to keep it as an equilateral triangle. So all friendships start at the bottom. I don't know why I'm going over here. Everything's over here. Everyone starts at the bottom with positivity. Positivity is the bedrock of all friendships. Because you know what? You're not going to go to somebody who's a gloomy Gus and say, hey, let's be friends. You're just not. It all starts with a spark of positivity. So sometimes positivity is difficult, but friendships cannot sustain themselves without at least making a circle back to positivity. So frientimacy, the title is the frientimacy triangle, is, if you look on the opposite side, is achieved when both people feel seen and heard in a safe and positive way. I want you to remember that. Frientimacy is achieved when both people feel seen and heard in a safe and positive way. In this little box over here, it says there's a 5-to-1 ratio of positivity for every negative thing that happens in a friendship or a relationship. So 5 positive comments. If you start a relationship with somebody you've never met, this is how we express it. We start with a smile. And I will tell you that I'm trolling for friends every time I walk out my door. And one of the things I do a lot is wear blue. Blue is the color of trust. Psychologically, when you see someone in blue, you think, oh, I trust her. When you see somebody in orange, it's like, uh-oh. Cindy can pull that off because it's a gentle white spirit. But blue is what people will look beyond blue because they trust it. And so they might see me. They might see me. They might be my friend. So a smile, a color, listening. If you can ask a question and get somebody else to talk about themselves, they will love you the rest of their lives. Seriously.
It's true.
An introduction. I met Sally this morning. She and I have passed each other at MOPS several times, but there's never been a formal introduction. And I thought, I don't know her. I need to introduce myself. So don't hesitate to introduce yourself. You're only taking the pressure off that person. I don't know if you felt pressured, but
Honestly, I'm like barely conscious of where I am.
yes. I think it does take the pressure off the other person, so just be the person who takes the pressure off. The other thing that works really well is if you say, I love that color on you, that purple, pink, whatever it is, it looks so pretty. It's. I said to Kelly when she walked in, she rocks that Mentor Mom shirt.
Yeah.
Doesn't she? Or when you're in a conversation conversation, one of the things that's really helpful is if somebody says, I'm not getting any sleep. If you're having the same thing, you can say, me too, call me in the middle of the night, text me in the middle of the night. You know, the me too brings people together. The other thing that works, that is so archaic, but it still works really, really well, is a thank you note. If you've had a great conversation with somebody and you go to the trouble to find out how to communicate with them, email, text, snail mail, that builds bridges. A gift. I've been in conversations where somebody says that they're going to Disneyland. Well, I have an entire box of Disney swag, like great stuff. Yeah. Things I bought on trips and trips and trips and trips. And I just got back from Disney World, so I have more really great swag. You guys go to Disneyland, I got stuff. So what if I said, use my stuff? Building a bond. For you guys in this room, this happened at our last meeting. Who's the one who walked in and said, I have little girls?
Oh yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah, a bag of hand-me-downs. Or a meal when somebody has a baby. Don't you love being the recipient on the meal train? Yeah. So, what is the opposite of positivity? We just talked about all the good things we can do. And this is one of my favorites. Because I'm a Disney kid. When we go into negativity, we become a Disney villain. In Proverbs, it says, frivolous talk provokes a derisive smile. Wise speech evokes nothing but respect. So, what is derisive speech? Or we see the derisive smile. What is frivolous talk? I got two topics for you. And some of you, this might even be your love language. How about sarcasm? Sarcasm, although it is an art form, and you know people who do it really well, maybe you're the one who does do it really well. It is repressed frustration. That is not positivity. And though you can pull it off sometimes, and it's fine if you do, the goal is to communicate directly. Others will understand, especially your friends will understand your humor if sarcasm is your love language. Totally. You just need to know that when you're trolling for new friends, you are not going to make progress with sarcasm. What's the other one?
Gossip.
Gossip. The derisive smile. Look at these villains. Every single one of them has a derisive smile. How many of them gossiped? Almost every single one of them. And you know what? Every single one of them lost. In the end, they were out. So, another thing that moms do specifically is judgment. It also falls under the category of gossip, but here's, how many times have you heard people say, she's sending her kids to public school, or she's got enough money to send her kids to private school, or she's breastfeeding in public. She's not breastfeeding, she's bottle feeding. Moms have so many ways of judging each other. MOPS is a safe space. We've created a community where everything is safe here. I don't care if you whip your boob out and nurse everybody's baby. And I don't care if you hand your baby and the bottle off to me, I will feed your baby for you. These don't work anymore. But, I really, really believe that we need to be gentle with each other as moms, always. And if you feel like there is some kind of a judgment that's going on against you between anybody here, have a direct conversation. I am sure you will find out that it's much different than you think. So here's where I want you to this is what I want you to hear from the Bible about this. In the Message Bible, Matthew 7:1-5 says, don't pick on people, jump on their failures, criticize their faults, Unless, of course, you want the same treatment. That critical spirit has a way of boomeranging. It's easy to see a smudge on your neighbor's face and be oblivious to the ugly sneer on your own. Do you have the nerve to say, let me wash your face for you, when your own face is distorted by contempt? It's this whole traveling roadshow mentality all over again, playing a holier than thou part instead of just living your part. Wipe that ugly sneer off your own face, and you might be fit to offer a washcloth to your neighbor. Isn't that powerful? So judgment doesn't work. The villains fail every time. So what does work is boosting a new friend's happiness, because it strengthens not only the friendship, but it strengthens your outlook on life. Research shows, okay, let me get this right. It comes out screwy sometimes. Research shows we elevate our overall happiness, ours, when we learn how to add positivity. But you know what doesn't work? Is when you try not to add negativity. So avoiding judgment, gossip, and sarcasm isn't what works. What works is by giving positivity, the smile, the introduction, the me too. There are a lot of stressors and frustrations that we can't erase. We can't avoid them and we can't fix them. Our time is better spent by being intentional about adding positivity. So, we're going to go back to our equilateral triangle, only this time it is not equilateral. See how the bottom is shortened? So if your positivity is diminished, we have a bit of a problem here. No relationship is positive all the time, but if an effort isn't being made to bring joy and positivity to the relationship, the triangle becomes unbalanced. So we always need to be focused on, what was the verse that you gave us, Chris, in Ephesians?
Ephesians 4:29.
Yeah.
Don't let unwholesome talk come out of your mouth.
Absolutely. So, if only one person is being vulnerable and the other person is not, it changes the dynamic. Friendships cannot grow if you're being vulnerable to your true self. Okay, so if you're making a new friend, do you have the same conversations you would with a friend you had all your life? No. Here's another thing I want to bring to your attention at the MOPS table. We are the queens of creating discussion questions that encourage you to go really deep. Are you safe in this atmosphere? We've had moms who've left because they've overshared, and then they want to do what Cam did and just suck it all back in. They don't want their words to be out there. They don't want their feelings to be exposed. And for people who've been here a while and they've been in relationships a while, at the table, it's really comfortable to go deep with those questions. It's okay if there's a question that is asked at the table for you to say, I'm going to pass on this one. It's super simple. I'm just going to pass this time. You know, and maybe later on in the week you can have a conversation with someone who is your true friend about what this question brought up for you. Okay, that was all. Okay, so we're talking about vulnerability at the table. I want you all to look at me, not at each other. Have you ever sat at a table where one person dominates the discussion all the time? Look at me. Do you know why that doesn't work? Because it does not achieve friendimacy. That means that only one person has been seen and heard in a safe and positive way. And our hope, our goal, is for everyone to be seen and heard as much as they want at the table. So that's where your table leader and your mentor mom need to come in and say, we need to hear from someone else. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, a lack of consistency breeds mistrust. Repeatedly canceling plans or not communicating negatively affects the relationship. Okay, I recently did this to somebody. I have a Muslim friend whose husband passed away. All of a sudden she is single. She's my age. And she's lonely. She's really lonely. I thought I will reach out to her, we will have coffee. And I adore her. And I had a conflict that I adjusted. I was in Flagstaff and I was coming home and I wanted to be there for Ferry. And you know what? I forgot her. When it actually came time to getting up and going to AJ's, I completely forgot. And about half an hour after our appointed time, she sent me a text and said, I had to leave. And that was my inconsistency. That was me not following through with what I said I would do. And as moms, you are always going to have conflicts, especially, I mean, we've got moms here today who have sick kids and wounded kids. Mm-hmm. And they're here because they made arrangements in advance. We are always, as moms, going to have to be doing things in advance. I hate to tell you, free spirits, this, but when you're a mom, flying by the seat of your pants is a real challenge for everybody around you. So just, I'm not joking, I promise. But you do need to be aware that when you make a commitment, it's important for you to follow through on time and as close to every time as possible. So positivity, vulnerability, and consistency are the tools we need to use to learn how to develop relationships that last. So for the next, I'm going to say 4 minutes, I want you to break into groups of 2 or 3. Talk to each other about which of the 3 parts of friendship on this triangle is the hardest for you, and what you can do between now and the next MOPS meeting, that's 2 weeks, to address it. What one thing can you do? Okay? Are we ready to come back, or would you just like to talk and talk and talk? Okay, so I'm going to start this segment. What kind of friend are you? And I want to ask you another question. Have you ever said, I'd like to make new friends because I need more people to take care of? More people whining and complaining in my life. And a few more people who have unmet needs that overwhelm me. Is that sarcasm? You may like. Nobody has ever said that. So, we're going to shift our geometry from the equilateral triangle to circles now for this segment and talk about the circles of friends. And it's not like you think. We all need each type of friend in these series of circles. We also need to be each type of friend. So each type of friend is defined by their level of vulnerability and consistency. We are also assuming that there's a high level of positivity. So, more important, this information will help you identify why some friendships work better than others. So, in this circle, we are going to start in the middle with confirmed friends. And we start in the middle because confirmed friends don't actually start there. They have high vulnerability and they have low consistency. This is the friend we all want. This is the friend we all want to be. But we don't ever start that way. You don't see them often, but when you do, it's like no time has ever passed. They will always be special to you, but they didn't start in the center circles. And right now, we are going to talk about how they got there. Chances are they started here at the right side with contact friends. Contact friends is someone you see when you walk into church. You don't know them, but you see them. When you're in the drop-off line at getting ready to drop your kids off, you see the same moms every day, right? They're your contact friends. You know their faces. Maybe you smile. But it's here we have room in our hearts for another friend. Just like when we add new kids, we think, oh, there's no possible way I could love another person. But then somebody shows up and you do. So our next circle is common friends, and there's an increase in either consistency or vulnerability. You begin to chat every time you see them at school at the drop-off line, or you begin to smile at her and you look forward to seeing her smile back at you. So there's a two-way thing going on here. Maybe you get the courage up to say, want to blow this place and get some coffee? Has it happened for you that way? Or maybe you work together at school on a project, or at church on a project, or on the leadership team here in MOPS. This is a really great place to move in circles with your friendships. There's an increase in consistency, and there's an increase in vulnerability. Because you're seeing each other more frequently, you're talking a little bit deeper each time. And so we're going up this triangle together. And it's staying equilateral. So we have more connection. This is one of my favorites. Friends don't let friends drink that coffee. Go to a nice place for coffee. Community friends, and that's this circle here. I think that's what we are at MOPS. Increased vulnerability, increased consistency. Our project, our coffee dates, our meeting together happens more consistently. We make a point of getting here. We make a point of being here on time because we're excited about seeing our friends. You schedule classes together. You schedule outside activities together. And so we become closer. And I like to think of them as the siblings God never gave us. You know, it's like I have two sisters and several brothers, and none of them do I have a relationship with like I do my mom friends. So there you go. Committed friends. These are the highest vulnerability and the highest consistency. These are the ones we all want. These are the ones we all want to be. And I've actually seen some of those friendships develop right here at MOPS. We do life together almost daily. We text back and forth. We're on the phone. You introduce your husbands. You have play dates with kids. You allow them to see your house when it's a wreck. You love their kids and they love yours, hopefully. And they become more like a family of choice than a friend, a family. So these kinds of friends, it's not about who you've known the longest. It's about who said they were here for you and proved it. And that kind of friendship takes a while to achieve. As a matter of fact, it takes 250 hours to reach that level. 250 hours. So if you're meeting an hour a week, it's 5 years. Go away for the weekend. Get some good time in. Can you have more than one best friend? Well, the expert that I've chosen, Shasta Nelson, she says that best is not a quality, is a quality, not a quantity. If we say something is best, we're not saying that we have to dislike everything else in order to like this thing. Best means that something or someone has reached a level of excellence, trust, and appreciation. It doesn't mean that nothing else can. So you can have multiple best friends. You're not, shortchanging anybody else's position in your life if you have a new best friend. My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. That's Henry Ford in the early 1900s. I'm fascinated by that. So now we're going to break up again, and I want you to talk to the group about your best friend. Break up into twos or threes, and we'll spend another 4 or 5 minutes on that. Ladies, at the beginning, I asked the question, how does a confirmed friend wind up in that center circle? That's the committed friend who has, at this point, either moved away or her life role has changed. Maybe she became a mom and she didn't. Maybe you have a best friend who, maybe there's a little distance between you because you have a kid now and she doesn't. So either consistency or vulnerability has dropped. So that means you have a confirmed friend, not a committed friend anymore. And that means that you just need to move somebody up the circle. And you might find that person here at MOPS because they have children. Many of them have lots of children. So,
I think she's talking about me.
So I did want to touch on a couple of things. Breaking the circles and explaining some conflicts. Things for you to think about. What if you think someone should be your committed friend, all the way over here, and they only think of you as a common friend or a community friend? That creates conflict in what your expectations are and what theirs are. This often happens in families. You guys, I've heard more moms at the table say, she's my sister, she should, blah, blah, blah. And that, in our culture, if your family is your best friend, you are a blessed woman. Because friendships are different than family. And that's not to say that your family doesn't have all that. But in our culture, it's not common. So you need to reduce your expectations and focus on the friends you do have and move someone up the circle with positivity, increased consistency, and vulnerability. And then let's do the reverse of this. What if you consider somebody a common friend and they're the ones who show up when you have an emergency? Do you think they moved up the ranks a little bit? Yeah? Yeah, they shared some yachts with you. What if somebody shows up to be you consider them a common friend, and they show up and they offer, like, you're flabbergasted by what all they're offering, and you don't feel that connection with them? What do you do? Do you accept? I don't have an answer for you. You're going to have to jump. No, seriously, you have options at this point. Do you lean in and give them a try? What if it doesn't work? What if it isn't a fit? Maybe they really are just a common friend, somebody who you see around. I do remember when I was a young mom, we were. There's a gal I just heard say, we were so poor we couldn't even afford the OR in the end of poor. We were poor. And I remember people bringing me hand-me-downs, and I wanted to be their best friends after that because I was so grateful. But they didn't want to be my best friends. They just want to get rid of their clothes. and today I'm glad for that, but it was a very awkward situation. I wasn't their equal. I wasn't going to be their person, but their hand-me-downs were great. So while friendship legends are built on being there in the tough times, it's not the job description of a new friend. Let's remember that. And then the one thing that I want to sharing clothing, more research. Research tells us that women make around 396 friends in a lifetime. We stay in touch with only 1 out of every 12. We replace half our friends every 7 years. So think back to who your friends were 7 years ago. How many of them are still present in your life? We will be letting go of friendships, and so we must keep welcoming new friends. Friend making is a calling. Chris's verse, Ephesians 4:19? 4:29. Almost right. So one of the greatest outcomes of friendship is learning to expand our ability to love. That love trickles down into husbands and families and foster kids and all kinds of new friendships. So good friendships, reciprocal friendships will change our lives for the better.